and your close friends and neighbors, then what are you doing with all that money sitting up there? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You heard that right there. You can go to stevequayle.com, click on the Interfood banner, and if you type in that survive, you'll get an additional 10% off. Your quantity discounts still do apply, by the way, so it's a really good time to stock up as much as you possibly can. Now, Steve, I'll tell you, it's just incredible, all of the things that are coming in, and we're hearing. I was moved greatly by the information that your contact V in Europe, the international, the big banker and trader from Europe, who, if people really knew who he was and how high up he was, they would be amazed. But the fact of the matter is that that person is telling the truth, and he's saying not only is 1 billion a day being removed from the banks in Greece, it's really more like 3 to 3 billion, and that's euros. So when you go by $1, that's about $1.50, somewhere in there, or right at $1. Well, anyway, it's a little bit more than $1. Well, consequently, you're talking about big bunches of money, and they're buying food because the Greeks are not stupid, are they, Steve?
No, I mean, I'll tell you what, the Greeks obviously have a lot longer history than some guy with a PhD graduating from one of the top universities in this country who now can't even make $10,000 a year. I'm not mocking them. I'm just identifying them. The thing is the Greeks have a history. And remember, Hawk, what's fascinating to me about Greek and the Trojan Wars, obviously isn't it fascinating that we're seeing Greece being the trigger point for a financial calamity unparalleled in the history of the world, and yet we have the Trojan horse of all of the foreign troops in this country getting ready to take us over?
Yes, and on that same vein, it's like going to be like the black golden age for the Luciferians. They're trying to usher it all in. They're kicking it off, with the golden age of Greece and all of this. What they're going back to and hearkening back to is their Greek Olympian gods, are they not, with the little g, Brother Steve? And are they not aware
Absolutely,
of that?
and if people would just understand that Greek mythology.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, Hawk, I talked over you.
No problem there. What I was referencing was your book, Angel Wars. Steve, while you're at it, give people your contact information. If they want to buy gold or silver, which they should do, you also have other food like the wonderful Remington buffalo chili, with or without beans, and you have some other specials up there on food as well as the Interfood specials that were just announced. Steve, give your contact information and let people know if they want the food or if they want to buy metals, what they can do right now, okay?
Well, first of all, Hawk, the thing is just on the buffalo chili, we're about two-thirds of the way through, so by next week I would expect it to be gone because people are buying 20 and 30 cases of it. Now, listen, bison is not genetically altered like beef over all of the centuries. That's what our ancestors ate, and it's got higher protein, less fat, so I really like it. The point is that for those of you that would like to get it, I met with the owner of the company in my store the other day. He said the next batch coming in, and then he kind of winked and said, we both hope that's true. The point is it'll be much more expensive because here's the deal, Hawk. In Bozeman, Montana, to buy a pound of buffalo at the health food store, ground buffalo is going to cost you $15. Now, that's for a pound. In this bison, the meals, there's close to, close to 6 ounces of bison in that, okay? And that's what's really astonishing to me, that you can still buy it for that amount of money. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can go on my website, or you can just send me an email at stevequayle777 at yahoo.com, and it's first served first come, first served on the bison. Go to Dry Harvest website. By the way, Hawk, in the last, I just got a call from Eric, and he said that they sold 4 platinum packages in the last 24 hours, I think, 24 or 30 hours. They can they probably have less than 2 dozen available in the next 2 weeks. They've got the gold package and the silver package, but the platinum package is the only place.
Food is running out for those who know what's going on, and it's being purchased up. The firearms, the ammunition, everything. Get with it. Take your money out of the paper, get it out of the stock market, get it out of the bond market, just like the international banker, told Steve, and it's up there at stevequayle.com, get it out of it and put it into food, farmland, firearms, and gold and silver. Just like Lindsey Williams said, the currency of the elite is gold and silver, and that you'd better have food because they're going to break the United States. And, oh, brother, go ahead and tell them about metals. Can they get precious metals from you or lock anything in this weekend?
Yeah, they still can, and you know, we're trying to get them out as fast as possible. One of the things that I can't be responsible for that makes me furious, because I've been telling people is going to happen, I can pay for overnight shipping at my expense. It doesn't matter. It still takes 3 days, okay? So the postal, we will ship it anyway, and if you want to buy enough, I have guys that have private jets that will deliver it. I'm not kidding. The bottom line is that people are panicked now, Hawk, and in the last 24 hours, if you talk to anybody around the country, the silver market has been flat. The physical silver market is always strong, meaning it's tough sometimes to get physical product. But when Americans simply don't buy when it's at a record low for the year compared to last year. Last year at this time, silver was up in the $48, $49 range. Forgive me, a month earlier it was. But the point I'm trying to get it to people is this: food, food, food. And ladies and gentlemen, you've got to understand this. We're talking about the dates. Hawk has warned you about the dates coming on. And I want to share this. I think you all should understand that nutrition is not the equivalent of food. The word food does not equal nutrition. And that's why if I were everyone listening to the show tonight, I would be on the phone calling the guys at InnerHealth, and I would be buying absolutely everything you could afford, especially the InnerHealth and the InnerFood stuff. I mean, the InnerFood, and then my favorite's the Cocoa Mojo, of course. I've said that 1,000 times. And the thing is that what these products represent are nutrients, they represent supplements, and they represent a way to keep you going. You see, Hawk, you know this. The word starved into submission simply means this: you keep a person alive, but you give them so little calorie intake and then so little quality that you basically make a bunch of robots.
That was the calculus worked out by IBM and the Nazis, was it not?
Yes, it was.
And why people are out there, and here's another question, Steve. Why my Jewish brethren and friends, why they are not putting back food, I have no clue. I have no clue, because all of the signs of this getting ready to happen all over again are right here, and they're smart enough they're not smart enough to know it again, Steve, and it's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Well, I think the bottom line is
in
that
the wire, brother, Russians.
Yep. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, the NSA, the National Security Agency, welcome everybody listening in from your puzzle palace. Their designation for Greece is Gog, the government of Greece. Now, we're talking about Gog and Magog, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I believe that Gog and Magog have multiple meanings. In other words, you have the superficial meaning, then you have the other meaning. But the thing that is really important for people to understand is this, is that the financial control of the world, Jesus said, is the control. The love of money is the root of all evil. The control of money is the control of all evil. And therefore, as the international bankers are fond of saying, they make more in one day of war than an entire year of peace. What V wanted me to hit home with everyone was the fact that all the numbers, look, these guys are, and as far as econometric, and as far as all charts, graphs, all the stuff you could ever want to know, there are numbers that are reoccurring that only reoccur when war is imminent. And I thought that was a pretty telling thing, Hawk. You follow me? I'm not talking about just the dates or anything. I'm talking about that literally equations that have existed as people who have been had a lot of time on their hand and incredibly brilliant have gone back and looked at these things. Those numbers are now flashing red, and
You're
unfortunately, it won't be white and blue.
Trades that are being made and the prices and the different things, right? And their
Yes,
relationship
absolutely.
to other securities, et cetera.
Yeah, he also told me to warn everybody. Now, I talked to him yesterday, and he told me to tell everybody. He said, don't pay it. I'm not trying to sound like Lindsey Williams here, but he said, look, tell everybody the stock market is absolutely nothing. He said it's all high-frequency trading between the Treasury and the Fed. It has no real money. And he said this. He said, all the rich guys he knows, here's his exact word, Steve, they're all out of the dollar. They're all out of the euro. We even posted that. And he said the brokerage firms, he said if the people knew how much money the brokerage firms really lost on the Facebook hit and also on all of the other hits, especially interest rate swaps, and he said they'd be appalled because the bottom line is he's the one, by the way, it's interesting, Hawk, again, the people like to steal stuff off the website but never give attribution to it. I don't know if you saw that one Tyler Durden article. I think you're the one that sent it to me, but
yes.
At the bottom it said this isn't a liquidity crisis. This is a solvency crisis. And I sent that to V saying, yep, I told you. They
They're
steal everything.
bankrupt.
Yep. Just absolutely.
Totally. And then I'll tell you something, I liked what he had to say. He said, tell your listeners to ignore ETFs and continue buying physical silver and gold no matter what the spot price is. Please tell them to take cash out now. Take cash out now. Get it out of paper. Get it into something you can eat. If you do not have your food, if you do not have your water purification, your firearms to protect your home, then you are not putting forward any kind of defense or protection for your family. You think you're doing it with the financial. The financial thing is going to go bye-bye. Do not complain to Steve Quayle or to me because we have screamed it at you. Steve screamed it to you for 15 years to get out of harm's way. How many times do you hear him say that in a commercial? Get out of harm's way. Because the Third World War, Albert Pike's war, is getting ready to break out. CNN itself, people, had a report yesterday. CNN reports yesterday afternoon that the Pentagon has finalized plans to attack Syria and forcefully depose its leader, Bashar al-Assad, under the cover of securing weapons of mass destruction and preventing sectarian violence. The moment they do that, Steve, as you know, the Russians are going to launch all in their pod against the United States and take it out. But as we also know, they're not going to destroy everything. They're going to do the EMP or use neutron weapons. Am I not correct, brother?
Absolutely. And Hawk, I think the thing that has to be said here is that for so long, even after the breakup of the Soviet Union, even Western Europe was smart enough to demand the locations of all the nuclear weapons that Spetsnaz had planted throughout Europe, from Switzerland to Norway, you name it. Guess the only country in America that didn't even proceed, or I just gave it away. We were the only country, the United States of America, that didn't ask for the locations. It's because somebody already got the location and said, you know what, we'll save those for a rainy day.
Yes, maybe a rainy day in the future when we invite, Wendy L. Schneider of the DOD. Are you at right now, Wendy L. Schneider, the DOD Public Relations hack at Fort Carson? Are your Spetsnaz out looking up those put-back nuclear weapons right now and recalibrating them so they can use them, maybe on the Hoover Dam or something like that? I know they've been up there, Wendy L. Schneider, in their Hind helicopters, and they started the fires up there around Fort Collins. Did they not, Steve? Did you not get word from the locals up there that they saw the Russians up on the high mesa start the fires?
Absolutely. And, Hawk, I have someone who's a relative of mine. His home is surrounded by fire at this moment. So, I mean, when I get reports from people, or my friend Paul and others down in that part of Colorado, I mean, these guys are right in the middle of it. And look, ladies and gentlemen, you can dismiss one, you can dismiss two, you can probably dismiss 2,000. If you dismiss everybody telling you what's coming, look, the point is, Hawk, I told somebody today, I was asked to speak at a, and you'll love this because I don't speak. I won't speak publicly because I'm not going to go someplace where I can't get back. And I said to the guy, he wanted me to speak in October. I said, look, by that time I won't even be on the air, and this isn't a threat. I don't think the country will exist as you know it. And I said, I think you're a little premature and maybe hoping for the best to have a conference in October.
Yeah. Well, some people still want to influence the election. Well, Ron Paul just threw away 30 years worth, didn't he? But on the other hand, they probably threatened the crap out of him, kill his family if they didn't do it, So, I mean, that's going on. There is no political solution, people. And then can anybody out there name one program that Romney espouses and how he's going to create these jobs or pay off this debt? There is none. He's doing nothing. He's just sitting there. You're not smart enough to even recognize it. And I'll tell you something, and this is to Rand Paul out there. I'll tell you what, old Rand, I understand how it works. They get you up there in the old Thornton Oil Boys plane. They put it up there after a few nice Kentucky bourbons, and they invert the plane, and somebody says something to you. Don't you think you ought to support Romney? And maybe Mitch McConnell's the one that told him to do it. I suspect that could be, Steve, in my opinion, very close to what happened. And that's some inside baseball names of who would be in Kentucky working the system, okay?
Right. Well,
So,
here's the thing. Everybody's still, can I tell you something? I know of a brother, he's probably listening right now, who's got a brother-in-law that is the closest thing to a moron that exists on the planet. The guy is sitting on $900,000, and his only statement is why he won't move it out of harm's way is because he's thinking there's probably a political solution. All this is going to go away. And the only source of news he has is Fox. That's like going to a psychiatric hospital, asking for a lobotomy, and then basically snorting cocaine, okay? It's that, I don't know anything more insane than what I just said, and that's the kind of attitude, Hawk, I run into day in, day out. How many years ago was it?
Gets in the hen house, is it not, Steve? Yeah.
Absolutely. How many years ago did I tell people to get out of their IRAs, Keos, 401ks, and all that stuff? I mean, a long time.
They would be coming for them, yes, quite a
Yeah, and how many years ago did I tell people that the Chinese yuan would be backed by gold? And even now I've got people emailing, well, you and I are on the air, Hawk, on June 15th, basically saying, should I get out of my 401k? Well, the bottom line is you better,
unequivocally.
Yes.
I'm just going to say it. I don't care. I'm going to tell you, what I'm saying is I'm not basing it on some expertise in the markets or whatever. I am basing it based on the conviction in my spirit that the Lord is telling me that this is the time to get those things, the hard assets, the food, the water purification filters, the new pairs of boots, building a shelter that could shelter against a nuclear attack or against a biological or chemical attack, the hardened things, and then gold and silver that will really protect your family. And if you've got a lot of money out there, well, then just take out 25% of it and put it into gold and silver. Pay the premium difference. So what? Because I'll tell you, your house is now worth about half of what it was 5 years ago, isn't it, Steve?
And if you really look at the doctor housing bubble, if you look at the true figures, it's probably functionally of what distressed properties are selling for, it's worth a third. In other words, what a home once sold for, what it's now selling. Now, there are pockets around the country where people still want to live in Seattle. Seattle's an exception, just as Boca Raton.
Or on the beach in Marina Del Rey or something like that, or Orange County, yeah.
Right, but the majority, see, that's what people are doing, and again, V wanted people to understand. I said, so it's like a hypnotist amulet. You know, you always swing the little thing, you get the people to focus on it, you get them to. And so that's what the stock market is. You are getting sleepy. Well, just imagine this if you could hear the voice. You are getting stupid. You are getting more stupid. We're going to steal you blind. The stock market go
up today, but we got all of our money out while we just adjusted the figures higher. Yeah.
Right. He said this literally. He said, Steve, they're trying to get, his words were, they're trying to get the last dollar out of the last pocket before it all goes down.
And they're buying all of the physical gold and silver they can get. All of it.
Absolutely. And again, Hawk, this is the thing I want. If people want it, just send me an email on food, and I'll have somebody call you over the weekend. Because look, I tried the best I can. Okay, we have had one person, actually two people, buy packages of food for people and send them out. And it's amazing. There are people who are so incredibly desirous for their fellow man. I mean, we're talking some people have donated. I'm not asking for donations. I'm just telling you, two people I know, they weren't satisfied to buy themselves a $4,000 food package. They sent $8,000 to get so and so and so and so. And another brother sent,
grandparents could buy their grandchildren food, and put that away for them.
Absolutely.
You're
it
saving
makes more
for your
sense.
children, your grandchildren. Well, what are you going to do when they're starving and they look at you and you say, well, here's my 401k on a piece of paper, and then one of the smart young grandchildren will say, well, Grandpa, we can use that to start a campfire because we're now on the road dodging bullets and cannibals and zombies who want to eat our eyeballs, okay?
Well, and again, that used to be, we've been mocked for talking about that. I first brought up the zombie thing 5 years ago, and I think I talked to you. I said about the headless demon. The demons are loose. People, every day, Hawk, with no exaggeration, people are saying they're having supernatural encounters at night. They're having incredible visions of some of the darkest things. And I'm telling them, this is the nature of the day. Russ Dizdar, he's on before you. He's talking about the Black Awakening. Well,
absolutely, it's happening. It's ongoing.
It's ongoing, but I don't think people understand it. It's basically a food fight, and guess who the food is? Or it's a giant feast on your carcass. And this is the thing that I don't think that people get. The fury, and I'm going to use that word. Go look it up. The tempest of the living God is in the land. He is absolutely furious. Now, does God love the world that he gave his only begotten Son? Absolutely. Yes. His name is Jesus. But if you go to Hosea, listen to this, because I know we're running out of time. Hear the word of the Lord, Hosea chapter 4. Ye children of Israel, for the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth. Boy, that's true. Just put in mainstream media. No mercy. Oh, abortion. Nor knowledge of God in the land. Perfect. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery. Gee, that just sounds like international banking in my book. They break out and blood touches blood. That talks about funding wars. Therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish. With the beasts of the field, with the fowls of heaven, yea, the fishes of the sea shall also be taken away. Hawk, we're watching the biggest fish kills that have ever been chronicled. Yet let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest. Therefore thou shalt fall in that day, and the prophet shall also fall thee in the night, and I will destroy them. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Now listen to this. This is the most famous passage in Hosea. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because you have rejected knowledge. I will also reject you, that you shall be no priest to me, seeing you have forgotten.
Say it slow.
Okay, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because you have rejected knowledge. Who is he talking to? His people. I will also reject thee, that you shall be no priest to me, seeing you have forgotten the law of your God. I will also forget thy children.
Yes.
That's a pretty strong word. See, God didn't say because You know, he doesn't want any to perish. And so, Hawk, you know, again, the bottom line is what we're doing every night, that you go on a show, I go on a show, you know, anybody who's on there pleading for people to turn to Jesus in repentance. And, you know, somebody said, well, God forgive me, he'll forgive anybody. I cannot finish any shows anymore I do without saying this. Though your sins be as scarlet, the word of the Lord, the living God, the King of glory, Jesus said, I will make them as white as snow. You know, that there's coming to me, all ye that are heavy laden, I will give you rest. Fear not, for I have overcome the world. These are all the words of Jesus. If anybody should be listened to, it's Jesus. If anybody doesn't want to be listened to, or the world doesn't want you to listen to, it's Jesus. Listen to anything. You know, do anything, listen to anything, but sure don't listen to Jesus.
But you've got to pay attention and be on time, because just like the parable of the 10 virgins with their lamps, and if you just skip down at chapter 25 of Matthew, and it says, and while they came to buy, the bridegroom came, and they were ready, went with him into the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. You got to be ready, people, but there is power in the blood of Jesus. Steve, thanks for coming on tonight, and bless you, my brother.